One. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunday
Hi.
Shift. Welcome to Sunday Shift. Make sure you like, you share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. If you want to buy us a coffee, you can. It's in the chat. Thank you to Abigail, Pamela, and Jen for all of your generous support. Y'all have been so kind to us. And thank you. And you may not have noticed, but we have merch. I'm gonna put this down. If you're listening, you won't be able to see it, but it'll be linked. So this is the new shirts. Tanya has the mug, and if you're a person on the go, tote bags. So really, really excited about merch. You can find it linked in the description. Um, Rep Sunday Shift while you're out and about.
hmm
Um, we do have a little bit of an update. So we have been talking about going to the General Hospital Fan Club weekend. Only half of us are going. It's very
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah. And as much as I would love to go and hang out with everyone, I've got a couple of stuff happening in August. And so my bank account looked at me sideways. I was like, uh-uh. And so,
Period.
I can't go this year, but I'm totally looking forward to Tracy going and having a great time and reporting about it to all of us when she gets back, or maybe even
Yes.
live. Maybe you can go
Yes.
live
Yeah, on
on
Instagram
Facebook,
maybe or
on
something.
Instagram or something.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Tara from Port Misery, because she lives in LA, is gonna go to a
hmm
couple of things. I think she's gonna go to one of the events. But
hmm
yeah, truly, I mean, I'm going based on like the generosity of people who have given to us and points. I hobbled together a trip. I'm taking the train down because I had train points. I
Yes.
had I'm staying at the hotel because I had hotel points because Embassy Suites is a Hilton, and I had Hilton
hmm
points banked. And then I'm flying back to Oakland on flight points.
Tell me about the train. Are you going on the coastal ride or are you going down
Yes.
central?
Coastal.
Coastal.
hmm
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the best. I haven't done that before. I'm so juiced for you.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that train. I've done it a bunch, which is why I have train points. Yeah, my plan is to camp out in the. If y'all don't ride Amtrak, I'm gonna camp out in the observation room. And it's like one of the. I think it's like the. I think it is the most scenic um ride, like short ride.
Right.
So
Yeah. They advertise it like that's the
yeah,
train to
yeah.
go.
You got
Yeah.
to download stuff on your phone because it's coastal. There's like a big chunks of it where you don't have reception.
Internet. Yeah,
Yeah.
at all. Which is
So
cool because sometimes you just need to get off the internet and just
truth.
really enjoy what's outside in the nature and stuff like that. Not
Yeah,
everything needs, yeah.
you're so glass half full. I'm like, I'm gonna have to make sure I download things to my device.
No, I mean, I don't know. I told you guys about that. I went cross country. I went to DC on a train,
hmm
and
hmm
it was like I don't think I was online half the time, but it was just so
Right.
refreshing just to not have the distraction of notifications and just looking out the window and
Yeah.
enjoying nature. That was great.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It is beautiful. How has your week been?
It's been pretty good, just pretty chill. Doing the festival circuit for Bart and went to Juneteenth in Antioch. And it's not like a huge Antioch, California. It's not huge, but they had Shanice there. And
Oh.
so that was interesting.
Like
And
do 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 that Shanice?
yes,
Oh,
that's
okay,
Shanice. And she's sung a lot of
cool.
stuff that's pretty cool. It made me want to go back and actually look into her albums and be like, hey, you know?
Okay.
So that was fun. And as far as TV goes, after I finished Elsbeth, why does, they always say recommend, and in the recommendations they had, the best episodes that Elsbeth was on for The Good Wife. And of
Okay.
course, I watched one episode of The Good Wife and then it was just like I can't put it down. I am binge watching The Good Wife again, and I'm on season 4, I think.
Okay.
Even though, what's her name? Something Margulies, the main character. She's hella problematic in real life, but I can't. I'm addicted to the show.
Okay.
Yeah, Juliana
Now I have to.
Margulies.
Okay.
She's
Now I have to look it up. Keep
you
going.
know, but real the show is addictive and for a good reason. There's some phenomenal actors on that show, and I think I used to I had a very, and I still do. I can't help it, but I find Cary Agos to be a very attractive white man. He has lovely lips.
Okay.
I'll just put it at that. And he has like this low tone of voice, very chill. His name is Zachary. No, his name is Matt Zuckery. And he was on Gilmore Girls. He was the Logan guy.
Okay. I shockingly
What
did not watch Gilmore Girls.
was the show that you used to watch that was back in the day?
Dawson's Creek.
Oh, okay, one of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was on Gilmore Girls, and apparently the, I guess the young girl had 3 relationships, and there's like a battle between Logan, Jess, and some other dude. And I think he was the last one she was with.
Yeah.
So any interview you see with Matt Zuckery, it's always about Gilmore Girls, even though he was on The Good Wife and he was on a new show called The Resident. Both of them good shows, but everyone keeps talking about the Gilmore Girls.
Okay. Um, I find most of those like shows that were on the WB or the CW when it changed really
Uh-huh.
similar to like my relationship with other soaps that I don't watch, where I'm like
Uh-huh.
familiar with them and can recognize people, but I don't necessarily watch them. So that's how
Hmm.
I know the Gilmore Girls. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't even rewatch this week because typically I would do it either Saturday night or before we record on Sunday. I've been watching Love Island.
It is reality show time. I don't blame you. My reality show is Big Brother. It doesn't start till July, so
Uh,
I'm rerunning it out right now.
I have not, I never watched it before. I only
Oh,
started watching it because Meg Thee Stallion was on. And I was like, okay.
oh,
And then I got into it and it's really similar. And it's better than, but similar to a show on Netflix called Too Hot to Handle. So,
oh.
I'm in it. When I'm not watching GH and old GH clips, that's when I'm in. I found, not found, but I just like started going down a rabbit hole of old GH. So I was
Hmm.
watching clips from like the Peter August time when he was like exposed.
Hmm.
Then I watched some clips from like right post Nixon Falls.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's what I've been on. Let's get into talking about GH for the week. Um,
Change for a week. Oh, and then we should just briefly maybe highlight what we did this week.
oh yeah.
Our guest stints.
Yeah. If you find us on YouTube, I did share it. We were on James Lott Jr.'s YouTube show. It was really great. It was James Lott Jr., me, Tanya, and Candace, who was lovely, another Black woman who watches soap. So tap into that conversation. Like I said, it's shared on our YouTube. I don't think James, I'm not sure if he has an audio platform, but I'll find out.
And then also during that show, you might be interested to know that there is a manifesto for me to
Oh, yeah.
meet a certain somebody.
Hmm.
Someone's put it out there in the ether that I am going to meet Dominic Zambronia, and
Yeah,
I'm here for it. Yeah, because I shot my shot on the
you
episode.
did. You did. You did. And today is Dom's anniversary on the show.
16th, right?
Yeah, yeah. So he has been 16 years of Dante Falconeri. He has been my op many of those years as
Yes,
Dante, but
yes.
love, 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 love Dom and love his portrayal. So
And there's just a very thin line between love and hate, and sometimes you go back and forth. Right now, I'm in the love side, and Yeah. Even though he's still a little like, well, we'll talk about it this week, but he's had some attitude issues and it's looking like he's adjusting a little bit. So yeah,
Not enough and not quick enough
not
for
enough.
me.
Okay.
Performance of the week. Who's your performer of the week?
I have to give it to multiple people. First, the I think the most intriguing performance for me was between Steve Burton and Cameron Matson on
Mm.
Monday. Oh man, when Jason is intense, he's like almost hot. So I love it. It's like,
Uh-huh.
but he's Steve Burton is very convincing as a very intimidating mob enforcer.
Yes.
So he put it on this week. I also have to give it to Amanda Setton and Alexa Havens. That fight was fighting, and man, the smack heard around the world because it was great and very satisfying. And then I also have to give it to Rebecca Hurts too, giving it, giving it, giving it to Christina, Elizabeth did, loved it. And then, I'm still very much impressed by Kate McMillan, even though she's in kind of a comatose depression. I still
Okay.
think her,
Hmm.
yeah, she's doing really great. So those are the, people I'm shouting out this week. And, we give him a lot of guff, but, Cameron Matheson is doing his job of making us hate Drew. So let's appreciate that. So.
He sure is. He sure is. I would also like to give it up for Tabiana Ali's face card. Did when
Oh,
she walked into the gallery, and she had that high bun and that little black
oh,
dress,
he looked so good.
she looked amazing. Your story
Yes,
might not be great, but you, Tabiana, look, I mean, face card,
right.
looked amazing. Yeah, she
Face
looked
and
amazing.
hair. Yeah, it was beautiful. Loved it.
That like top bun, I said, you better
Yes, right.
be out of here. She looked like she was about business.
Mm.
Yeah, she looked great. So you kind of alluded to, but let's like actually get into like kind of like still Chalynn versus Lante, like that whole kind of quad. So we had two stories that were happening like simultaneously. So we started last week. We ended off talking about Maxie trying to parent trap Lulu and Brooklyn.
Mhm.
Um, while also because Chase and Dante were like fighting at work, Anna put them in a cell to make them talk. So
Right.
starting with Lulu and Brooklyn, we have them basically fighting. And Brooklyn was like, okay, well, I can forgive you. And like let's let bygones be bygones. And Lulu said, oh babes,
Oh well,
I'm
whatever.
I'm not sorry.
You know, sorry, not sorry.
Um,
Uh,
and then she kind of went in on Brooklyn and was like, "You did this, you did that, and that's why your son ain't talking to you." And Brooklyn slapped fire out of her.
slapped
Loved
her in the
it.
next week.
I posted on our Instagram. It was like a repost from a Chillin fan account, a video of them of like every version of Lulu being slapped by a version of Brooklyn.
It was great.
Oh, dear. How did you feel about the fight?
I mean, Lulu has a lot of gall. I don't know. She get it from Tony. I mean, she get it from Luke. I don't know. But just the self-righteousness is still getting to me. Um, and I felt that slap and I appreciated it and felt it was well deserved, even though she was like, oh my God, can't you and her and Maxie were like shocked. They were like, that slap was wrong. But I love that, at the end when Lulu was like, whatever, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. And Maxie was like, actually, no, you're wrong. And you need to own it for what you did to Gio. And so I appreciated Maxie giving being real with her. And I'm also, I'm not too mad at Brooklyn and trying to get revenge against Lulu because the girl, she just doesn't realize. I mean, even though she might have a small point in thinking that Dante should have known or whatever, it's not her place, and her motivations for doing it were definitely circumspect. And she can't own that right now. And so I think she deserves what's coming to her. I don't want Rocco, unfortunately, to be in the middle of it. He doesn't deserve that. But that's what comes with doing dirty or doing bad is that somebody gets hurt. And the innocent is the usual ones that feel the brunt of it, unfortunately. I wish Brooklyn could find another way to get revenge on Lulu without using the kids. But Lulu's gonna get what she's gonna get. So I don't know. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I am very clear. I don't think that Brooklyn was in the wrong for any of it.
Right.
And it's interesting because I've never actually been I like Brooklyn, I think Amanda is like phenomenal, like just as an
Right.
actress and that she has brought so much to the role. But
Hmm.
I Brooklyn's always been take it or leave it for me. So it's not even a matter of, oh, like I'm a Brooklyn stan or something like that. And I have always disliked Lulu. But I feel
Hmm.
like I could pull back and maybe see both sides. For me, I'm just really clear in my real life values of how I feel about adoption and a woman's right to like make that decision. So I can't even see another side because I think that Lulu was completely in the, or not, I'm sorry, Brooklyn was completely in the right for what she did. She's a teenage girl who said, I can't give my child the best life. Her mama, instead of being like talking with her and being like, "Are you sure?" Whatever, her mama was like, "Okay, cool," because her mother never intended for the kid to go far. So her
Hmm.
mother couldn't even have the real motherly conversation, not even to like push her into doing anything one way or the other, but into like actually weighing out the decisions with her because
Hmm.
she was like, "Oh, okay, well, you don't want the baby. All right, well, I'm gonna do this other thing anyway, so it actually doesn't matter what you want."
Hmm.
So, and I think for the Dante of it all, she didn't have to tell him. That's not like she doesn't have to tell him anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
That's the only sticking point to me. Now, I don't have a relationship with my dad. I don't think he's a good person. And there's a lot of really horrible fathers out there, right? But at the same time, I think um, Dante's parental rights, um, I think, are important to acknowledge, even if the law is on the mother's side in this instance. I think it's important to know that Dante did feel a loss. I think he had a point in saying, you don't know how I would have reacted or how I would have stepped up. A lot of stuff could have happened. I still feel that, the mom's choices are the mom's choices. And right now, that's where it is. But I do feel bad that Dante, his rights and his feelings and his thoughts are kind of just like, seconded and not really. And I think the GH is doing a good job of showing that. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where I differ a little bit. I do
Yeah,
believe that,
I, I disagree with all
yeah.
of
I know, I'm sorry,
No,
but
no, no, it's okay. We don't have to agree with stuff. I
yeah,
disagree with all that
yeah,
because I actually don't care about Dante's rights. If I like, and like I also think like, because it's not about rights. I think that that's like the word that like always a sticking point. He actually doesn't
uh-huh,
have rights, and I think that he
uh-huh,
has every. I think he should be able to feel how he feels.
hmm,
I am not mad about how Dante feels.
hmm,
If you found out something different and you've been in Brooklyn's life and you're like, oh, I felt like you would have told me, I'm not mad about that. Dante has every right to feel that way.
hmm,
But who cares for me about that? Because
hmm,
even when, and this is the problem with what Lulu did,
hmm,
and what Dante's like, well, I understand about when she was a teenager, but like, what about when she's an adult? part of the problem with GH is when they're trying to tell a story, they try to force it and they don't remind people of the other piece. So we hear like the one part of it all the time. But the piece of why Brooklyn didn't tell Dante was because she thought that Gio was in a family with a close adoption, and she didn't want the two of them to run up on him outside of like him trying to seek them out. And I do wish that that would have been something that was said to Lois, like, I've spent, the last however many years hoping that my son would come find me, but based on what you did, that was never even an option.
I feel like she
It,
told Lois that. And but
she,
one thing I know, she told Lois that before it even came out. Like she told Lois that she really wanted her son to come find her, but she didn't
right,
want to be the one to look for him. So
right. And
I
I
think
think,
Lois knew all that.
but I think that because of the way
Yeah.
soaps work,
Right.
we hear the same message like reinforced over and over. And so
Hmm.
something might get thrown out once, but if that's not the message or that whatever that the show wants you to see or wants like the audience to feel, then we might hear it once, but we don't hear it again. So
Right.
that's like that is what I'm saying, that like we actually are not hearing Brooklyn's perspective, and Brooklyn is like actually apologetic, and I don't think she has anything to be apologetic about. Even not telling Dante was hard for her. It
Hmm.
was hard because I felt like our son deserved to have this life, or our baby deserved to have this life that was like put forth by the parents that I gave them to. So I'm not saying that Dante should maybe feel hurt by that. He should. I'm not even saying Dante has to understand that. I'm saying I understand that, and I don't think Brooklyn did anything wrong.
Hmm.
When it comes to Dante, again, totally understand you being mad, totally understand you being hurt, totally understand all of these feelings that you're having. When it comes to what Dante and Chase were doing, Dante believing that Chase should betray Brooklyn for him was
That was
wild.
wrong. Yeah, it's very wild.
And
Especially,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, especially given he hasn't copped to lying about having had an affair with his wife. Dante
Oh,
sleeping
not
with
an affair,
Brooklyn.
but yeah,
Yeah,
beforehand. Yeah.
sleeping. Yeah, I think Dante's being very hypocritical, expecting Chase to be 100% honest with him, and he's not 100% honest with Chase.
And not, I mean, obviously, like it's retconned, and so it's hard,
Yeah,
but
right. Yeah.
But Dante was like very hard on Brooklyn. Anytime that
Hmm.
Chase would like talk about being with her, there have been multiple times where Chase had to be like, I actually like Brooklyn, or you need to like calm down the way you talk about her. And it's never
Hmm.
been said like, oh, I had this fling with her, or I had whatever with her. So it
Right.
looks like shady that it's not just that you never told him, it's that you have tried to talk him away from her many
Hmm.
times, and
Hmm.
that part didn't come up. Now, of course, when that was written, that they didn't even know that was true, but
Right.
still, it's relevant. And so the other thing that Dante did, I didn't particularly care for. So when he came for Geo, it was very much like you were coddled by these women. Like it was very like
Hmm.
that sexism was really very much there. And when he
Yeah.
talked to Chase, he was like, "Why don't you man up and make your wife do something?"
Yeah. He's
Dante.
very what's it? The very like this masculinity thing he's
Hmm.
got going on. It's very yeah, old fashioned
Yet,
thinking.
yet, and Dante, I'm so sorry. When Chase talks things out with his wife, he doesn't sleep with her cousin, and he doesn't divorce her through the mail. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry, finance man,
So,
she got you.
so, you know, it just again, like I said, I get the
Yeah.
frustration. I get why he's mad, and he's entitled to feel the way he feels.
Hmm.
And I solely it's in line with his character, and I just
It
disagree because
is.
I like when
Yeah,
it
it's
comes to like the
Gavry.
right and wrong of it, I just disagree with him.
Yeah, he's very much playing the part of some Brooklyn raised, somewhat Catholic, somewhat, the masculine dominant type culture that he's taken on. Um, but that's what makes me mad because the contrast between his attitude now and what his attitude was with Sam is just very jarring and and very upsetting. I think,
Yeah.
if he was still with Sam, I don't think he would have reacted the same way. Like
I,
all things, like not like, and not to say that his grief with over Sam doesn't play a part, but I'm just saying, if he had found this out and Sam was still alive, and I don't know, I think he would have just been different. There's nothing scientific in my thought on this. This is just he would
no,
have been. I
I
think he would
can
have reacted
see the
different.
story being
Yeah,
so different because I
yeah,
think uh, I obviously we don't know they would have written Sam the way they wrote her.
yeah.
I think that Sam would have felt the way I felt. I
Hmm.
think Sam would have felt like Brooklyn as a mother had these rights.
Right.
You are entitled to feel the way you feel as a father, but that doesn't change anything. It doesn't like help you make up the time with your son. And I think that might have been a cause of like, because we always knew that if like Sante, any couple is temporary, right? And that Lante is this like long-term couple they built towards. And so eventually they're going to push Lante back together. And I think that this might have been, if Sam was still here, one of the like pieces of drama that would have pushed Lante back together because Sam
Yeah,
would have stood on the other side of it, and Lulu would have been like, "You so right, babe." You know what I mean? And I think that
yeah.
we really missed out by not having Kelly Monaco, which I will say every week, we really missed out on not having Kelly Monaco on having that kind of built-in tension and drama. Why would you take away real drama that was like ready to happen because of what? Pettiness? Because it clearly ain't money, y'all giving money to everybody.
Yeah, my idea of Dante reacting different hinged on Lulu not being there. Him just
Oh,
finding the information out, I think he would have reacted different. Because I think Lulu brings out that whole machismo attitude that he has. I think it's Lulu. I think it's all Lulu that brings out that hatefulness in him. And so
yeah,
I
it
don't like
really
it.
it does bring out his self-righteousness. It brings out his
Yeah.
rigidness. It brings out yeah, it brings out a lot of that for him. And like Lulu kind of like lets it go and goes along with him, where
Hmm.
Sam was the person who like stood up to that. Like, are you sure about this? Are you sure you're gonna behave this way? I don't think Sam would have been okay with him talking to Chase that way. You know, like
Right.
I just think it would have been like really different. And like I said, I could already see how that would have been like really interesting like character driven
So sure.
drama for
Yes.
them
Yeah, that would
that
have
we
been.
miss. Yeah. So, as you like alluded to, Brooklyn has this plan. I'm not really sure what the plan is. It's something to do with like bread and like the embryos, blah 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 blah.
Right.
I don't particularly care for her like involving Rocco, but I also didn't like that scene with Rocco and her. I said, "Oh, you're your mother's son." When Rocco like ran up on her and was like, "Well, why are people mad at my dad? Because he should be mad at you." Go 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 do some kid base, Rocco.
Right. Don't be judging adult situations. Like he should be mad at you. I was like,
Yeah, it was too much. It was too much. Okay.
was in
So
grown folks' business.
because I appreciate it when we think about the conversation between Dante and Chase. Dante was like, Brooklyn is not the reason that you don't have this relationship with Gio. That was you. That was
Hmm.
you, and that was your behavior. And what has
Right.
changed about him between it's I mean it's not as bad. Obviously, I would never say Dante's Nina, never, ever, ever. But it is like really similar to like this with Nina and Willow. It's like you don't even really like me. So
Right.
you've proven that you don't like me. You said you don't respect
Right.
me, but now all of a sudden because we're blood, we're supposed to get down. And so I think it makes
Right.
sense that like the people that Gio are gravitating to are Sunny, Rocco. Emma, people he already was like trusting prior to all
Hmm.
of this happening.
Right.
Um, but yeah, what did you feel about that Rocco Brooklyn conversation?
I mean, I think it was a little, it was definitely inappropriate of Rocco to be like judging Brooklyn like that to her face, but I guess he's, you know, teenagers. They feel like they can
Yeah,
say
yeah,
a lot of shit.
yeah,
But yeah, because, Brooklyn is trying to, actually engage with Rocco in the way she always has. And here he is, been like, Gia should have been mad at you. What's up with that? I'm just
yeah.
like, uh-uh.
Meanwhile, Gio is actually still mad at her.
Right. I mean,
And,
that's true,
right.
but and especially him coming off on the heels of being like a drug addict almost at a party. He still should be humble when it comes to adults because he's still on punishment.
Well, apparently he's not, because Dante expected Jason like to do whatever, but Rocco is just
Right.
cleans the house and you all good.
Right.
Um,
Double
I, but I
standard.
but I will say something I found to be really interesting was this like dichotomy between the way Brooklyn talked to Rocco versus the way that Lulu talked to Gia. Because
Hmm.
Brooklyn really could have took it there with Rocco, like F your
Hmm.
mama, all of that. But she
Right.
but she was like patient with him. She was like, this is an adult business, this is adult business, you know, whatever. Whereas to Lulu, like searches out Gio, which I think is wild because
Yeah.
Lulu, you actually know that Gio doesn't have a relationship with Brooklyn specifically. And you're what trying to like absolve yourself, clear your conscience with him over his parents. And then
Hmm.
you're doing the same thing you did through this whole investigation, which is be really careless. You
Hmm.
know that he didn't know his birthday. That was something that you found out. And because you're so careless with his feelings, because it's like you're so clunky and it's all about you, you're actually a mother. You know how to talk to, you should know how to talk to people better than this. You should
Yeah.
have
I
been
mean,
thinking about him as Brooklyn and Dante's kid, not as like somebody that you just need to like absolve your guilt with.
yeah, I mean, I see how she tried to kind of be like a little bit on Brooklyn's side when she was talking, but I think you're right. What she did was very careless in the first place, and so she shouldn't have been having that conversation with him. It would one thing if Gio came to her and confronted her, but she's the one who sought him
Right.
out. And
Right.
so, yeah, I think it definitely was inappropriate and still wrong. And if Brooklyn finds out, I wouldn't blame her for being mad about that either.
Right.
Um, so yeah. I mean, but that's Lulu being Lulu, Luluing. Because in the end, like even in her attempts to try to justify, decisions that Lois and Brooklyn made, she just only incensed him even more. And so
Right.
so what she did was not even helpful at all, except
Right.
maybe it just got her off the hook.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and this is like also going back to just how strongly I feel about like being on Brooklyn's side in this story, is
Yeah.
that which is different because I really wasn't on Brooklyn's side with the like Valentine, all that
Hmm.
baby swap. I mean, I got it, but I didn't feel like her and Maxie were heroic. So
Right.
like I'm like 10 toes down on her side this time. And so I'm looking at this situation and I'm like, um, Lulu always looked at Brooklyn as like a liar. So it was never
Mhm.
about like a mother making a decision for her kid. It was always like you
Right.
lied. You're manipulative. You're this. You're that. And
Right.
we have seen that that is no longer who Brooklyn is. I mean, she got it in her, and we're about to see her have it in her.
Hmm.
But that's not her day to day. Who she is day to day is a mother. Who she is a day or not, a wife is a cousin, a big sister. Like that is who she is day to day. We have seen her mature. We've seen her be hurt. We've seen her make mistakes. We've seen her clean up those mistakes, and all of that happened while Lulu was still in that coma. And so, even when Dante told Lulu, like, you just want people to see Brooklyn the way you see her, and that I think
Hmm.
is why the this story has always left a bad taste in my mouth because even when she was talking about it, it was always like, oh, well, you did this and you lied and Dante has the right to know. Never ever thinking about the rights of the adoptive parents. Never ever thinking about just anything but her own like selfishness. And it really comes across on this story and makes her extremely unlikable to me. And so now she's trying to flip this and talk to Gio about people who she doesn't even like. You don't like Brooklyn. You don't respect Lois. You don't respect Gloria. And Gio is not speaking to these people. You should not be the mouthpiece to explain anything that's happening with these people. You're not close to
Right.
them.
Right.
It would be different if this was like somebody who was genuinely like, oh, yeah, I'm close to these people. I can tell you what I think. If he was talking to Olivia, but you
Yeah,
actually don't
Olivia.
know anything about their motivation. And so you doing that was actually real trifling.
Yeah.
Well, I also didn't like Lulu with Isaiah, and it was fascinating because she even like when Isaiah, she wouldn't even give Isaiah the full tea. You wouldn't even give Isaiah the rundown of what you did because you knew you was foul.
Yeah, it's like I can't tell you what happened because it's not my story, but yet you're willing to be all in the mix of the story in the first place.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. I'm
So,
curious if this is going to be another the like Brit stuff is going to be another rewrite. So this is what's going on all around social media. Is like people remembering the kind of like Ben Westbourne now being Rocco Falconeri story, and
mhm.
remembering this is like back when Liz was being messy because like Brit and Nicholas were together. You know, Liz didn't like anybody else that was with Nicholas, and Brit was trying to pass the baby off as hers and Patrick's, right?
Yeah.
Um, Very weird that all of Lulu's kids get made under these weird circumstances. I don't like that at all. Um, just I don't like that they do that to that character. It's very but I am curious if this we're gonna get some rewrite where Britt is actually Rocco's mom, or if we're gonna have um Brooklyn do like just full villainous stuff and like try to make it seem that way. If the person coming back is gonna be a Britt lookalike versus being just like actually Britt. So all of that is it all of that I don't know if I'm saying I'm looking forward to it, but I do want to see how it happens.
Yeah, because I think that they kind of painted real life Brit in not real life, but Brit into a corner where she has Hodgkin's disease and she actually really was supposed to be dead. People saw her die and so like how to bring Brit Westbourne back would be they're gonna have to do some really creative, retconning in order to get that make it work or to have her come or the actress come back as another person altogether. So we
Yeah,
shall see.
especially because they gave that the actress and that character such a big goodbye.
Hmm.
Like they was buying the rights to like songs to like have her sing karaoke and have like a big birthday party farewell. Like they really gave that character a very big farewell. So to just
Yeah.
bring her back in the midst of people asking for the other Kelly back is just oh God, hold on. Okay. That was a technical difficulty. I'm at my mom's house, and my nephew just came through. So this is for everybody listening who might have heard me be like, "Oh my God!" My nephew just like came through and fell over a bunch of bikes. I thought it was gonna be a dramatic, like a dramatic injury, and he just like started crying, and then he realized he wasn't really hurt, and got up and rode his bike away. Kids are
Okay.
wild. The
Yeah.
kids are wild. Anyway, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but that was wild.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about Britt Westford.
Yeah,
Um,
coming back.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, that is something that is. I don't even know if I want to say I'm looking forward to it, but it's certainly something that is happening. I
Hmm.
am curious as to how they're going to really, you know, give us what that is. And like you said, like it might not actually be Brit. So And the Huntington thing really does go on, and ABC medical stuff loves Huntington's actually. And that's a real disease that doesn't
Yeah,
have a cure. So like, I don't know what they're gonna do.
yeah.
Um, if they're just gonna go get real weird about it and be like, actually, we found a cure for Brett. Good luck, y'all. You know?
Good luck to everybody else that has it in real life. But
Right.
Brit, she
But
got a
Brett,
cure.
so yeah. Um, what else? What else? Okay. So let's get into the more Millow custody battle fallout. So you alluded to this Drew and Jason showdown. So Drew calls Jason to the hospital to like negotiate. And it's basically like he wanted to negotiate with Michael. And Jason was like, I'm not doing anything for you.
It's
And Drew is just so over the top with it. Um, like calls into question, like invokes Sam. I'm so tired of Drew invoking Sam.
Mhm.
And talks about who Jason is the father, which Drew, you need to let's not be pot calling kettle black, talking about people's daddies.
Right.
um, and father figures and father skills. And then at the end, Jason did his very weird whisper and kind of like turned back because Drew said something like, "You can quote me," and Jason was at the end. Jason was like, "And you can quote me," and the bitch of that was very much implied.
Right. I
How
mean, the
did you feel about
gall.
brother versus brother?
I'm just like the gall of Drew talking about we gave Michael a very generous visitation package. I'm like, sir, 2 weekends a month or a year or whatever is just like that's not generous at all. And
Hmm.
so it was just like he goes in there with this huge audacity and trying to be like, well, Michael is not getting his kids back and yada yada yada. I'm like, sir. And so, but when Jason was like, you're poison, no compromise. I was like,
Your poison was, woo,
huh?
and he wasn't
What?
wrong.
He wasn't. And everybody is still on Michael's side, no matter what.
Yes.
And poor Willow, she's suffering, but doesn't no one like it's justified suffering almost because she's still making bad decisions.
I
Ah,
mean, I am sure. I think that maybe we were talking about this on James Lott's show, where I would say
yeah.
that I think, sometimes what the writers do and what happens is that when they write stories, they have
Mhm.
one thing in mind. And when something in the like that's a real world thing happens, they have to change course, but they don't really fully change course in the way that makes sense to make characters continue to be viable. So if you
Right.
think about what happened with Millow and this breakup fallout, I believe they never intended for Chad when they were writing this. They did not intend to like not have Chad as Michael. Like he was
Mhm.
written with this in mind. So um, if we would have seen like Michael with Sasha, if we would have seen other things play out, then maybe it wouldn't have been so annoying with Willow. Same thing if you think about like back to Sona. I was just telling y'all I was like rewatching some of that stuff when that happened, it was supposed to be Sona versus Jarly. They were not expecting to not have Steve Burton in that role when they came back. So it would have been like Sonny catching Carly and Jason in compromising positions. And it would have been, it would have been all of that. And instead, we have Sonny essentially beefing with Jason's ghost. Even if you remember when Carly found Sonny, like after he slept with Nina, he's like, well, you love Jason. Jason's dead, girl. Like, what are you talking about? So at the same time, like with the Millow thing, we all watched how foul Willow and Drew were for so long when Michael was off screen. And so
Mhm.
we all were like, when is Michael coming back to check them? And so that's where we are now. And even though Katie is doing a phenomenal job, it's really tough to feel bad for Willow because This is what you wanted for Michael. You were the one who said we'll give him every other week and 2 weekends a summer or whatever. You kept being the one who like kids belong with their mother, not kids belong with their family. Kids belong with their mother and father. Because what we've seen
Hmm.
from Michael is Michael's actually like grieving that his kids don't have their mother anymore. This is tough
Right.
for him. He didn't take the kids from Willow to be spiteful. He took the kids from Willow because she was genuinely making wild choices and Drew was out of control and nobody knows what's going on with him. So it's hard to feel bad for Willow, to your point, when she's still making bad choices.
Yeah. Hard. It was like, so just to kind of extend it a little bit from the Jason and Drew conversation. So like Willow gets out of the hospital and Drew takes her home and she's kind of like out of it, kind of like a little comatose, even though she's not, she's still tired and all this other stuff.
Hmm.
And yet still willing to listen to Drew, you know, have
I love her.
Drew try to convince her to get married. And at first, she responds like, Drew, you're the reason why I lost custody. I don't think us getting married is probably going to be a good idea. But yet, Drew and his powers of persuasion convinces her to sleep on it and then brings in, the lawyer and he's telling him, well, this legitimizes you guys as a couple and so it'll be easier for to get visitation and she, falls for that shit. And so that's why like I have no sympathy for you.
None.
That's a lot, the none. And you're listening to a man who fed you all these wild promises and none of it happened, and you're still willing to listen to
Hmm.
him? Man.
Even so, there like will so something about Martin, and I have to
Yeah,
imagine that Martin is just ambulance chasing and trying to like stay on this case so he can get money from Drew. But Martin
right.
suggests they get married because that makes their relationship look a different way. In what world does that make sense? And then Willow was like, well, that's why me and Michael got custody of Wiley. No, it is not. The judge was actually very annoyed by both Michael and Nell's marriages of convenience. Because you remember Nell,
Right.
one of the most iconic Nell scenes is when she like busts into the courtroom with that wedding dress. And she was blackmailing Julian to be married to her.
Right.
Like the judge was like annoyed that Millow was married and annoyed about this like Nell and Julian thing. You got custody because Nell's a nut. Like the, so the idea that Willow was like, we got custody because me and Michael got married. No, you did not. And if you laid out that the judge gave you all of these things that were Drew's fault, why do you think marrying him will be the solution?
Mm-mm.
And this is why this is jumping because I want to jump back to Baby Daisy. This is also why it's annoying because when we find out that Sidwell paid off this judge to give Michael custody, I was not satisfied by that. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I was gagged for sure. I was like, what? I was
Right.
gagged, but I didn't like it because like I feel like Michael winning custody was like satisfaction for me of everything I had seen coming home to roost for Willow. The judge
Yeah.
laid out you took Wiley over state lines. You had Drew sign these uh not custody but parental guidance like papers, guardianship papers. Moved in with him. You did this, you did that. So even when they were like, well, Michael cheated with Sasha, so what? This was not a cheating hearing. This is about if you can keep your children safe hearing. Michael had the good sense to hide his mistress, and you moved your kids in with yours. Like, this is not equal parenting. So
Right.
I, I was. a little disappointed when we found out that this is why Michael got custody.
Yeah, I was actually definitely disappointed and annoyed because it was the right decision. And to
Yeah.
find out that she got paid for it, it just takes that justice sting out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, who's to say what decision she would have made regardless after that hearing? But knowing that she got paid for it and that was involved, it's just like it takes a little bit of that sting out of it. And so,
Right.
um, yeah, because we want right now, everybody wants Michael to win, just to win, right? We don't want anyone taking credit for it. Definitely didn't want Sonny to get in the middle of it.
Right.
And we just wanted the evidence to show that Willow sucks and Michael's the better parent and let that be that. But
Right.
no. So now we
Right.
got this extra layer. And I'm thinking Sidwell did it because I think he's the one that started the fire in Sonny's house. So
Yeah, I do
maybe
too.
he's
Yeah.
doing it to make up to Michael what he did. He probably didn't intend for Michael to be there. And so for him to help, but also I think it's an intimidation tactic as well. Because as soon as Sonny finds out, or he'll put it over Sonny's head in some way, shape, or form. Like if you don't do this, then Michael could lose custody of his kid. I don't know, but I don't like it. And so I think, yeah, that was very disappointing. Besides the fact, which we'll probably talk about later, how it came out that somebody had paid for it. Um, as a spoiler, it was crazy. But yeah, so I'm hoping, and we're not really seeing, I think right now, Michael's focusing on the kids and making sure the kids are feeling comfortable. But I'm hoping that this isn't the end of Michael's display of power. I think I'm hoping he will also focus some of his energy on taking down Drew. It looked like he was trying to form a partnership at the very least with
Curtis?
Curtis. And I was hoping that when he came upon the conversation with Tracy um, and Curtis, that he wanted to get in the middle of that too. But it seemed like he was trying to convince Tracy to do what Drew wanted. I was like, Michael,
I have a thought about that, but I do want to.
yeah,
So we'll talk about that with the Black Hospital section. I do have
yeah,
a theory that I want to know what you think about.
okay.
Yeah, I have a theory about that. So the other thing that we have is this whole thing with Baby Daisy. So
Hmm.
for whatever reason, Sasha, y'all know Sasha's my girl. I defend Sasha's
Hmm.
rights. I can't really defend this wrong because this is silly.
Right.
So she's living in the Quartermains when she truly could be living anywhere else.
Hmm.
And she's like, Michael, I don't want you to be on the birth certificate. I want to raise the baby by myself, but I want the baby to know you're her dad, but I want to make all the decisions. What? And I think Michael's point, which made sense, was like, I don't want her to believe that I didn't want her as much as I wanted her brother and sister. So
Right.
if she knows I'm her dad, but I'm not in her life, I'm not doing all of these things, then that makes
Yeah.
difference between these children, and you have her living here.
Yeah. I
Sasha, girl,
mean,
what are you talking about?
I don't understand. I mean, it's one thing for her to have sole custody of the baby and decision making, but not having Michael on the birth certificate, that can have some consequences further in the line, which could, not be good for the child. And it's just really weird and selfish. He is the father of the
Weird.
baby. He should be on the birth certificate.
Yeah,
Like, what are you
yeah.
trying to do? Like, you did not have immaculate conception, lady. So, yeah, it's weird. And then yeah, definitely a little bit weird that she's living in the house. You know, I'm like, you might as well just make him the father. You ain't got to be married. You can still have sole custody. Why are you doing this? Being
Hmm.
like really weird. Um,
Right.
but she was acting like really weird too before he even came on the scene. Like refusing help from Jason and, girl, get the money. That kind of stuff. Just, wanting to be independent. You can be independent and really take care of your child and let people be in the child's life. Anyway,
It, yeah, I just don't get it because also like if they would have had Sasha be like, it's dangerous. I didn't want people to know, but you was gonna let people think Jason was your baby daddy. So this just
right.
none of this makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, it just, but I think that Willow is the person that's like stalking. So I
I think,
think that's. Oh, did you think that too?
yeah, I think a lot of people think because she
Yeah,
keeps having like these blackouts or like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. She's like, I'm so tired. And so in the hospital, they made this big deal of being like calm in front of Sasha, but then Lucas and Felicia were like, we gotta investigate, like when the babies were like switched or whatever. Well, Willow's a nurse and she knows how to get around the hospital. And
Hmm.
then was like, she like constantly keeps talking about how tired she is. And then we
Hmm.
have this like situation where somebody turns on baby Daisy's mobile. So
Hmm.
I do think it's Willow. I do wonder if she's gonna do something crazy. Lord knows I do not want Sasha to have to deal with something with this baby.
I
Sasha's been
mean,
through enough.
it's definitely explains a lot. It probably takes a lot of energy trying to stalk a baby.
Mhm.
You gotta hitchhike and walk and drive and doing all this stuff. I
It's so
don't
surprising
know.
because Drew has so much like power over her. This is the thing that I found to be the creepiest thing that Drew did. So, like obviously she was like, I don't know about marrying you, whatever, whatever. She's like, I'm just tired, I'm so tired, I'm gonna go to sleep. And she was like, yeah, go to sleep, and then maybe when you wake up, like marrying me won't sound so bad.
It's
What?
not like I don't know if it's creepy is the word I think about it. I think it's sad, definitely. To think that, sleeping it over will make the idea of marrying me sound better. I'm like, sir, that's not the kind of romantic proposal you want anyone to have for you. Like you want someone to marry you because you're a great person and not because they need to sleep on it.
Yeah.
It was funny though.
I'm just really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So anyway, interested to see if Willow is the stalker because she also did this thing. Imagine being in a scene with Christina and being this like Christina being the sanest one there. Like what? So the burn unit did an amazing job with Michael. He looked great at the pool. And he's with Christina while he's in his swim lessons. And we zero in on this like shirt being left, and I was really confused when they zero in on that shirt. Turns out it's Wiley's shirt from Lila's Kids. And at first I was like, also, how would Willow know that's Wiley's shirt? Dude, everybody got a Lila's Kids shirt. I probably got a Lila's Kids shirt somewhere. Like, what are we talking about?
You
But
gotta like
we find out that it's because she knew Wiley was going to be there. So she had called Nina to like have lunch, and it was because she was trying to run into Wiley. And even with Christina, she was like, "Tell the kids," and Christina was just looking at her like, I will," and then like took the shirt from her. I'm like, this is devastating. That Christina's more sane than you. Has there ever been anything more devastating than being less sane than Christina? My God.
I don't know. I still keep thinking about Lila's kid's shirt and I want one now. I need I need GH to put that on the merchandise list.
Yeah,
About
they sold
Lila's kid.
they sold out of Corinthos coffee shirts, so
Get us a
Uh,
Lila's kid shirt.
um, but yeah, and then Willow tells Nina that she's gonna marry Drew, and Nina looks horrified, as she should.
I know. As she should. Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh, sorry, that was a yawn.
Oh,
Let's talk about Black Hospital. Um, minus Kai against Drew.
Mhm.
Do that math. Um, so everybody is mad at Drew. Trina's mad at Drew. Jordan, Portia, Curtis, everybody's like, Drew is trash.
Mhm.
We know that Kai had overheard uh, Portia and Curtis talking about hiring a sex worker to like set Drew up. he told Trina, and Trina said, "We mind our business over here." And if my parents were gonna hire a sex worker to set somebody up, they deserved it. Okay,
Mhm.
don't worry about it. Now let's go swim. I got these
Ah.
braids. It's okay to get my hair wet. I ain't worried about this. So anyway, Kai's been really weird about it. Not weird enough to not. So we find out in his documentary, all that situation, that Kai can play sports, but not contact sports. So whatever surgery he had with no scar, um, on his back, fixed some of it, but not all of it.
Mhm.
We still have no parents in sight for
That,
Kai.
oh my God, that's the biggest hot take that I have. I'm like, where are this man's parents? This is
Can't
why
have his parents there if we gotta always have Trina worried about him.
it's so sad. How are you gonna have two surgeries? First
Right.
first from the incident and then a major surgery to fix everything. And none of his parents aren't there. Not even a mention. Like he's not even calling his parents to be like, yeah, the surgery didn't work. He first runs the church. That's sad.
Oh God. Um, so Curtis tried to quit I always want to say Invader, it's not the Invader. Aurora tries to quit
Right.
Aurora and is like tells Michael, Drew got something on my family. I gotta go. Michael is like, Drew and my family. He won't get away with ruining yours. And so Michael is like, so be it, so be it. Write whatever you gotta write.
Right.
Um, I want to back up because I didn't go through this. How did you feel about the way Drew was talking to Nina and Portia?
I think it's crazy. And the fact that they're letting him talk to them like this. I mean, at the end of the day, I can understand why Portia is allowing it to happen because she still could you lose her job. Um, at all the shenanigans she's been involved in, but Nina has no reason to do any of the stuff that she's doing for Drew. She needs to just tell Willow the truth. Get
Mm,
it over with. Why are you letting some man blackmail you and letting this man do horrible things to your own daughter because you're afraid to tell her the truth?
hmm
It's really sad. But yeah, it's wild. Drew is wild for still getting away with all the stuff he's getting away with. I'm still like when we had the podcast with James, I'm like, my idea is to have Drew be murdered and the whole town have a a, a component of his murder. They all get to participate. Somebody
Yes.
drugs him, somebody smacks him on the head, somebody
hmm
injects him with something, somebody drags him to a grave and buries him, and he's still screaming in the coffin. Somebody, and then whoever gets the final blow is, whatever. Maybe it's Willow who gets the final blow in. But everybody has a hand in this man's murder
Yeah.
because everyone has a reason to knock him off kilter. And I just want everyone to be able to get their lick in
Mm,
because he deserves it. He
period.
is wild, period. But
Yeah.
yeah, we don't
He's
know.
terrible. And so Nina, the kind of calculus that she's making is really the same thing I've been saying about Willow for a long time, which is, who does Willow actually have?
He has
We have
none.
the situation where she was in Michael's family. She didn't really have her own. she got like she kind of forgave or became close to Nina, and she has Drew. If Nina tells her, first of all, who's to say that Drew wouldn't just say Nina's lying and then Willow would just believe him? But also, if this bothers her and she throws away both of them, who does she have? She
Yeah,
truly
nobody.
has nobody. So whew, we will see with what's going on with her. But so my thought is with this Martin and Tracy thing, all their banter, Martin is trying to make Tracy sign off on this paper. And it seemed like Michael was agreeing, but Michael had also said something like, "Oh, this drug that you had, ketamine, is a horse tranquilizer as well." So
Mhm.
I do wonder if they're gonna have it set up where it looks like Tracy's gonna go along, and then they're gonna have like Cody or somebody be like, "Actually, this is for the horse," because the only thing they have is that there was like ketamine found with Tracy. So I do wonder if like this is gonna be like a bait and switch where even if it's like a big um like press conference, they bait and switch Drew at the time. Because ain't no way in the world Tracy's about to like it's just no way possible Tracy's gonna go up there and say that.
Right. Ain't
Nobody
no
would
way.
believe that.
Right.
So yeah. Um, so that's my thought about that. I got really frustrated. So, Portia was in Curtis's office talking to him, telling him about what Drew needed. Curtis was like, I'm gonna do it, whatever. Jordan shows up and Portia has an attitude, and Curtis basically like dismisses Portia for Jordan. I'm not interested in round whatever this is of Jordan and Curtis, and of Portia and Jordan fighting over Curtis. How are you seeing it? How are you feeling about it? I mean, I know it's a classic soap trope, right? Like whatever, like they're going around in a circle. But how do you feel about it?
Um, I thought it was interesting that Portia's trying to like rekindle the relationship with Curtis, and Curtis was just like, I ain't there yet.
Hmm.
Um, in which, I think he has every right to, because yeah, essentially she's lied to him every step of the way of their marriage. Um, but yeah, I don't know if I want to see a tug of war with Jordan and Curtis. I do think they are getting along a lot better, but I kind of just like them as friends right now. I'm not necessarily seeing the romantic chemistry between them being lit up again.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think Jordan can do better than Curtis, obviously. Um, and I don't know why they have her tripping over Isaiah, but that's what it is. So yeah. And it sounds like
Yeah,
people are like, is this like a black couple swap right now? With,
yeah.
Isaiah and Portia. I feel like some people feel like something is gonna go down between Isaiah and Portia, but it doesn't look like it because Portia stay giving him attitude. So I don't know.
Hmm. I uh, I am frustrated at the writing for Portia.
Mhm.
And I've said this before on this show. This is Tracy talking about this thing 1,000 times. I don't think anybody's obligated to like any character. That's Portia, that's Jordan, that's Curtis, that's Trina. You're not obligated to like anybody. Kai, whoever. But I think there is something to the fact that Portia has never been a fleshed out character and has never been given real motivation outside of Trina. So even if we do have a couple swap, the only person that we've ever seen Portia be interested in is Curtis. That's it. That's been her guy from the very beginning. We haven't even seen her want to rekindle with Taggart. Like it's just never been
Yeah.
anything but that. even when I mean, it was because it was soapy because we knew from day one, oh, they got a pass together. It coincides with like around the time Trina was born. We always knew that was going to be a story. We always knew that that was like a case or whatever. It doesn't mean that you don't give Portia motivation. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't hear her talk about why she did it, how she did it, whatever. We never get that from Portia. It's just one thing after the other, and most of those things are annoying. The last time Portia did anything rootable was when she woke that dude up for Trina during Trina's trial. That's not something I can remember, and that still was for Trina. She is nothing outside of being Trina's mom and Curtis's wife. And I think that's really unfortunate. And so when we have Jordan call up her good girlfriend Anna, and I love me a Jordana scene, don't get me wrong. But we have Jordan call up her good girlfriend Anna and come and like trash Portia. I was talking to Tara from Port Misery. I also posted she is recording again. We were just like, that's crazy that we all we have been told is how bad we should feel for Willow. Every single person on screen has had sympathy for Willow. It's sympathy for Willow Hospital. But when it comes to Portia, we she is being written ridiculously, and we're being told by people on screen, "Oh, I don't feel sorry for her." And as a matter of fact, you know how every day they pull a scene and they like put it on their social media. Let me try to find it just to see the caption. So the day of the Anna Jordan scene, that was like the pull scene. And the caption for it was no sympathy for Portia. What? All we hear, even Nina got over sympathy. I
Yeah.
remember when because I wish that Curtis would defend Portia like he defend his white women. Because I remember when Nina came back from Nixon Falls and Michael and Willow ran up on her at the Savoy, they said what they had to say. And then before they could leave, Curtis like walking up like, well, you need to let Nina be in the baby's life and da 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 da. So you expect everybody else to forgive, forget, like all of that. But when you
Hmm.
mad at your wife for anything, it's over for her. I'm not trying to hear, and everybody else can be like, well, all Portia do is lie. I ain't got no sympathy for her. Jordan, you don't have no sympathy for Portia because didn't you lie when you was protecting TJ?
Yeah,
This whole
but
lie that Portia
in her in her mind, her lies are about the job. You know.
Well, her lie about TJ wasn't about the job. Her lie about TJ, which is what threw Curtis over the edge, what because like she had lied about the job, he was mad about that. The thing that like
Right.
made him say I'm done is because she lied about getting TJ back from Cyrus.
It was about the job. It wasn't about like
But that
her
was personal. That wasn't the job.
her getting TJ back from Cyrus.
That was her as a mother. She didn't go to the PCPD for that.
No, but yeah, it was about something else. It wasn't necessarily about their relationship, you
Right.
know?
And so
And
with
so,
Jordan and with Portia,
mhm,
because this all seems so stupid, Portia's lie tracks back to Heather and protecting Trina from
yeah.
Heather. So
Yeah, but
I'm not saying,
the first one was a relationship lie
sure,
about the daughter. Yeah.
yeah, sure. So it's just like her being like, I have no sympathy. I'm like, I just have feelings about them having the only two black women on screen beefing, and then like one of them telling their white friend why she ain't gonna beef. I just didn't care for it. And then to have this like conversation between Jordan and Isaiah, y'all weren't even together long enough for me to have to see y'all break up again.
I felt like that was more of a post-mortem kind of like let's have a closure conversation. Um
I'm too mad to want closure because it didn't make like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And that actor, I actually have laughed because he has like retweeted stuff online about people being
mhm.
like, "Why did they break up again?" Because even he's like, "This is stupid." Hate it. So after Trina like continues to tell Kai, Drew ain't nothing. Kai goes to tell Drew, my surgery didn't work. Drew was like trying to be sympathetic, whatever he was doing. So now Kai is about to be Drew's intern. Get him out of here. And there's so much conversation I've seen, and it's been written up in publications about like Kai and him being boring, him being this and being that. I don't think people have to like Trina and Kai, and I don't think Trina and Kai are unfortunately they're not given a story that makes them likable. They're both beautiful people. I would love to see Trina with a love interest that I was interested in. But to have there was like a day on the show that every character was talking about a man. I remember tweeting about it. It was like Trina and Josh were talking about Kai, and like every character was talking about a man. Oh, it was the day Curtis and or Portia and Anna were talking about Curtis. Like truly every day. So anyway, that was my rambling rant about just being a little bit annoyed at Kai and Trina as a couple.
I'm just annoyed at Kai as a person because he's just not fleshed out. He's boring because he does not have anyone to interact with. There was a point where Trina was like, Kai has never been vulnerable like that with anyone. I was like, because he ain't got nobody to be vulnerable with. His parents are MIA. He probably had the opportunity to be vulnerable with his parents. Why he doesn't, why he able to just grieve alone because nobody's there for him. None of his family is there for him. It's sad. Um, so yeah, she's the only person that he's got essentially. And that's on the writers. His best friend is not even on the screen anymore. His best friend who has way more, charisma, but still, his best friend is not there anymore because the best friend was like, you listening to Trina now more than you listen to anybody else. So, it's crazy. And he's
Yeah.
going to be pulled into the Drew web just like Willow. And, that's why, the parallels of him being a cult person is just really strong because he's got people believing
Yeah.
him for no
It's
reason.
it's also we know that all it takes is a good storyline and a good couple scenes to like change the way people feel about a character. We saw
Right.
that with Geo. We saw that with
Exactly.
Emma. And so to double, triple, quadruple down on Kai, like one, having Trina everything out of her mouth being about Kai. I can't remember the last time Trina had a scene that wasn't about him. And I do want to say, don't cancel me. I do want to say that's consistent because when it was Sprina, Trina didn't really have scenes that weren't about Spencer. Spencer had a whole family and he had drama, he had this and that. Trina, whenever she was on screen talking about anything, she was talking about Spencer. It was more acceptable because people liked that relationship, but they have not given Trina something to do in a very long time. They have not given Trina her own story that's being fleshed out just for her in a really long time. And so to see this thing with Kai, it's already like hard because he's coming up behind a pairing that people liked. Y'all haven't given him anything interesting to do. Football's not interesting. Drew's not interesting. And then you have him like going against Black Hospital for a character that everybody hates, that you are writing to make everyone hate. It's not just like an accident or like somebody who hasn't stuck. People hate him because he is hateable. And you have Kai
Mhm.
like now doing whatever with him. It's not working. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Or it's not working for me.
Yep.
All right. Josh the Spy. Um, Emma, Emma like caught was catching like Joss and Vaughn, who's playing the janitor in the creepy professor's office. Vaughn pretends to kiss Joss as like a cover up, and Emma is like, I guess, blackmailing Joss to like let her be in Dalton's office. I Dalton called Jocelyn and she's like, I'm so sorry. I thought that was silly. I mean, I know maybe we don't want Josh to be super unlikable, but Josh should just be like, I didn't tell Emma to do that.
Yeah.
If you want Emma away from him, you gonna have to do something shady. And that should have been the
Yeah.
shady thing.
Yep. And also, I don't know, I'm not seeing chemistry between Joss and Dalton, not in the same way as it was with her last
Oh,
boyfriend.
her and
Yeah.
Vaughn, you mean?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Vaughn. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not seeing it. There's no chemistry, I don't feel. So I'm not invested in this whole spy caper right now. Except, I mean, it's interesting that Joss has a new direction, but I'm just not interested enough in it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I hate that because I love Joss. And
mhm.
the spy thing doesn't work for me. And to your point, they should have never killed off Dex. It's like
Yeah,
they just make these decisions, and I'm like, for what?
right.
What is the point?
I mean, Dex could have been the one, investigating Dalton. Why did they have to kill him off? I don't care. Or Dex could have been the one
Yeah,
recruited to um, WXB or WSB along with Joss. Yeah, they did not have to kill Dex off at all.
we don't
In
really
order, yeah,
see this janitor handler like interacting with other people anyway. I think
right,
what would have been interesting for me, is if they would have did the like Dex died situation, and then at the end of Jocelyn's training, Dex popped out, and now
right.
Dex is also working for the WSD.
Yeah, because Dex, I feel, is a more attractive candidate for the WSB. He was a mobster. He was in the military. He has training as a cop. I mean, there's very little extra training that they had to do with this man.
Right. And so that could have like been built in like angst for Jax of her being
Yeah,
like, I can't believe you let me think you were dead, whatever.
yeah, all that. It would have been really good scenes for, Eden to play because she's really good.
Yeah,
And nope. See,
agreed.
GH writers, y'all need to be paying attention to us more because we could totally redo your show and do it a lot
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
So
So we have a
just
scene where
saying.
Liz puts Christina on notice. Christina's just there looking silly. Rick shows up. Now, Lucky told Elizabeth about Christina, but did he not know, or did he just not tell her about the Rick blackmailing Alexis?
He did not tell her about Rick blackmailing Alexis at all.
Did he know? I can't remember, and I didn't want to go back to watch.
Did he know is what I can't remember, but I know he did not mention it to Elizabeth.
Okay. All right.
Because all I
Well,
know is that, I mean, he knows that Alexis knows, but he doesn't, and he knows that Rick and Ava know that Alexis knows, but he doesn't know that Rick and Ava are blackmailing Alexis.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was a good use for Elizabeth. I was excited to see somebody snap on Christina. She had no mercy. It was no like, oh, it's okay. She was like,
Mm-mm. And she put on, and she was like, do it again, and I will prosecute you.
yeah,
Do play
yeah,
play any head games or whatever, I'm going to prosecute you.
right,
And
yeah.
that's the worst thing about, and we're probably going to talk about this next, about the scheme that Christina has is she's out here giving advice to Michael about holding on to anger and grudges. Ma'am, you have not let go of your anger and grudge. You're up here
Perhaps
scheming
not.
against Ava. And here you are giving
Yeah.
advice to Michael. I was like, girl, you don't have several seats. Mm-mm. She's not learned anything. She's gonna be like that. She's kind of like that one note character that doesn't grow up at all.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. She does not grow up. She's only regressed. They do not know how to write her except for being like annoying and messy. And
Mhm.
so, like you said, we have this scheme where she's like trying to get Cody to like prostitute himself to Ava, to like break up the alliance between Rick and Ava. And then we have Molly looking on jealous because Molly likes Cody. I'm like, Christina, why are you such a ruiner? I mean, that's not I like Molly and Cody anyway, but you're a
Yeah, I
ruiner,
mean, and
Christina.
then I was just thinking in my mind, Ava's way too sophisticated to fall for some chump like Cody. And then someone reminded me that
Yeah,
Ava do be going after younger men the way she did with
yeah,
Morgan. So I was like, oh damn.
yeah,
So oh well.
yeah.
Ava, that's her Achilles heel. Some young man.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, this with Cody is perfectly believable.
right.
This is actually right up Ava's alley, to be quite
Yeah.
honest. And
Yeah.
I'm tired of her getting embarrassed by Rick. Rick rather would much rather be with Elizabeth at every turn, and I find that to be very embarrassing.
That is embarrassing. It's very embarrassing and unworthy of Ava, unfortunately.
Yeah. Um. Oh, and then baseball game is coming, and Sunny is flirting with another law enforcement officer. I think I saw
I,
somebody make a like some kind of visual about all of like the brown-haired law enforcement women that Sunny has taken down.
yeah, that was funny. And I also thought the first scene with Anna and Sunny was cute,
Hmm. Yeah,
where she's like, "You're going down this time," and he's just looking at her. That was
yeah.
cute.
I like
Yeah.
that a lot. I'm looking forward to the baseball game. I like
Hmm.
that
Gio.
Gio is going to be playing on his team.
Yes.
And I think I saw like some pictures that Rocco and Danny are going to be as well. We never
Okay.
see the baseball. We just always see like the aftermath of the baseball. But Sonny
Yeah.
really seems serious this year about getting the super team.
Right? Hiring some minor league team folks to play on his side. So yeah,
Yeah,
he's he's definitely trying to rig it into his favor, which is fine.
yeah. But yeah, him flirting with that DA, I said, oh God, not again. But Sonny ain't been with nobody in a long time. It's been like a year and a half.
Yeah,
Him and Nina broke up New Year's Eve with going into 2024. So yeah, it's
yeah.
been a year and a half.
Him
About
and
time.
Jason, single, single and free to mingle, but they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
So
So we shall see. Um Now I want this to like flow into this conversation, but like so we have this like we this like just kind of it felt like a throwaway scene, but maybe I guess it's not, of Gio and Emma finding a dog in the park. I was like, what does it mean? Dog didn't have a chip, it's this, that. Um Then I saw that Braden, who plays Emma, posted about it. And then the guy who plays Dalton was like, yeah, Dalton is interested in his dog too, or something like that. I was like, oh, so maybe this is something about like the animal testing.
oh,
And then at the same time, Cameron Matheson had spoiled that somebody paid off the judge. What's up with these actors spoiling storylines?
I don't know. They're definitely on vacation right now. That's probably why they're doing all this social media stuff.
I heard that the studio shuts down most of July.
Yeah. Oh, well, we're almost on July.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm just like, they must be bored spilling all the secrets. But
I don't know.
also, we have this super observant GH guy who noticed
Oh, Brett.
that, huh? Yeah,
Brett.
he noticed that the guy that plays Cody is not on contract.
Yes,
Sorry.
this is true. So we don't know if he's gonna be recurring. We don't know. Like they haven't made any announcement, so I don't know
They
what's gonna
just
happen.
silently removed him from the credits.
Yeah, just like removed from the credits. But yeah, no like soap opera digest article or anything like that. Even though
Yeah.
soap opera digest made like a really weird mistake over about days because like an old actor was like touring the set and people took pictures and they were like, this person's coming back. And days like shoots like 6 months in advance,
Mhm.
and days had to come back and was like, that's not true. He was there just touring the set. Was
So
that
yeah.
embarrassing?
So, but at the same time, GH hasn't said he's still on contract or anything like that. So
No, I mean, I'm imagining that he
yeah.
has to be around for something. Like
Yeah.
there's gonna be something with the story with Ava, and again, like there might be something around recurring. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna play a little, at least a little bit prominently on Brit or whoever coming back. So
yeah.
maybe he'll run his mouth and say something stupid again and reveal a major plot twist because that's just what his role is, to be all up in everybody's business and then telling everybody like a town gossip. I'm surprised he wasn't. Well, he was involved with Lulu. So man,
hmm
he don't need to be on the show.
I mean, I don't have anything for Cody, and I'm wondering like what is happening with like the characters. Like, are we gonna have young men? Are we gonna like are they like shrinking that age group and like really investing in another age group? That's the kind of thing that just like worries me because we have Cody leaving. It was somebody else who recently left, but they like they got rid of Dex. They got like it just continues to happen. So I am curious, and not that Cody and Dex are particularly peers, but yeah, look, Lucky. Like,
Yeah.
what is the plan here? Because we Cody leaving still means Molly's gone or Molly's like single. They
Hmm.
obviously like just unceremoniously got rid of Taj as
Right.
TJ. So I don't know.
I don't know. We
Anyway,
shall see.
do you have any hot takes before we get into reviews?
Trying to see. When he small, will deserve everything she gets, blah blah blah. That's pretty much it.
Okay,
I'm just like the dog was cute. That's it. All
cute.
that.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Monday, Tracy makes a public display. Jordan Curtis take a trip down memory lane. Boo hiss. Portia is
Lewis.
rattled. Portia is rattled. Kai shares his plans with Trina. Nina is taken aback. Tuesday, Nina seeks help from an unlikely source. Carly pleads with Michael. Drew gets some inside information. Portia lashes out. Curtis reassures Trina. Oh my God. Do you think Kai is gonna snitch to Drew?
Oh God.
Ugh, Kai. It's kind of over for you if that happens, bro.
Yeah.
Um, Wednesday, Dante and Brooklyn discuss Gia. Alexis seeks out Elizabeth. Martin gets bad news. Marco makes a delivery. Cody follows orders. Thursday, a conversation with Sunny leaves Carly concerned. Jason gives Dante a new perspective. Lulu has advice for Lucas. Ugh. Brooklyn doesn't like what she sees. Marco makes a discovery. And Friday, Sunny is in for a shock. Jason and Carly walk down memory lane. Okay. Daisy's loved ones gather for her christening. Anna faces some tough questions. Chase and Brooklyn make a realization. Oh, Brooklyn's pregnant.
Oh, wow. That would be
That's
nice.
just me saying that. I had never read, I hadn't even read these spoilers, but I just would love if she's
Okay.
pregnant.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. You can buy us a coffee. You can get down with some of your very cool Sunday shift merch. Get a bag, get
Get
a
a
shirt,
mug.
get a mug. Um, yeah, we really appreciate y'all for listening, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.